I don't think I've ever had a panelist get a shout out during a walk-on. It's gonna be lit. All right, thank you everybody for joining me on stage. We spend a lot of time talking about what AI can do for customers. And today I want to talk about what it's doing inside organizations, to the people building things, to the teams deploying them, and to the question of who exactly gets to build. So Ali and Melky just introduced all of you, but to reiterate, we got next to me Andy, CTO of MJH Life Sciences, Greg, who's the CTO of SERHANT, and Victor, the VP of Product Management from ZoomInfo. All right, so to kick us off, we've watched organizations move from experimenting with AI to actually building with it. Before we get into specifics, I'd love to start high level with what you all have learned. So what's something you're doing with AI today that you might have thought was unrealistic a year ago? Anyone can start.
I can start.
All right.
This is near and dear to my heart, being in enterprise software for so long, which is, we call it voice of the customer to pull requests. So something that I never thought was possible from last year was, Jeanne, you've been through this, where you have tough conversations with customers, they have feature requests, and the response is, we'll put it on our 12-month roadmap, and I feel like I'm letting them down. Now what we do is we take those recorded conversations, we have agents that analyze them and generate code and pull requests for them so that the product team's job is to decide when that gets shipped to production, not actually synthesizing all the feedback. So it's kind of an amazing time to be in enterprise software, I think.
I love that. You just took Char's Eve demo and added like another major agent hop onto it to add that much more value.
This is good to know. I've started addressing the AI agent on my customer service calls. It's like, if the AI agent is listening, here's the problem I'm having. So it's just gonna encourage me to keep doing that.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I think it's, when I look at last year, the work you can give an AI agent, typically I would say will take them minutes to get done autonomously, right? Maybe an hour, a little bit over that. Now you can actually tell an AI agent to do really complex tasks that will take them 10, 15 hours, even overnight, days, right? And so it really starts becoming where coders are becoming conductors, right? And you're now able to delegate work instead of having to sit there and kind of babysit the AI, and every few minutes you have to guide it to do the next thing. You can truly delegate work. And I think that's just a multiplying force for any engineers, where, you know, it's not replacing engineer, it's actually just empowering them to do a lot more. So it's really exciting to see.
Awesome.
I've been really surprised that I'm living without a BI tool for the first time in 15 years. I hope my Salesforce team isn't here, but we churned pretty hard off of Tableau, and we replaced it with nothing. We replaced it with homegrown internal tooling. Somebody's gonna write a great Substack about this. I don't know who it is in the room, but it's like the rise of the custom control plane. I don't wanna just see data on a screen. I want something that I can get the metric, take an action, and hand it off to an agent. And we've built internal control planes over some of our data that allow us to do that.
Yeah, awesome. We're the same way. V0 powers 100% of our BI. Most of it originates with like direct connectivity into Snowflake, like I mentioned, but we drop spreadsheets, you name it, into it. Same thing. I can't imagine having a BI tool. So one of the things I find interesting is who's actually doing the building you guys are describing. So Andy, you all have this AI accelerator program. Who's in it and what are they building?
Yeah, they say that the seat license is dead, but I just keep bringing more and more people onto Vercel and giving them monthly licenses. Our AI accelerator is designed for non-engineers. So 20% of the program is pure marketers, people that are early in their career, they have a marketing degree. Needless to say, they don't have a GitHub account. They've never thought about themselves as an engineer. And we give them like what we call the Twitter meme about the starter pack. It's Claude Code, Vercel account, GitHub, and SSO. So we give them a base template to work off of and an engineering buddy, and then we let them loose. It's babies with chainsaws building some of the wildest stuff that I've seen in my career. And it's been very, very exciting to have the voice of the customer, the internal customer, working with us.
Awesome. And Greg, tell us how SERHANT is building vertical AI for real estate.
Yeah, as my colleague Coyne mentioned, we're building vertical AI for real estate. And what that means is, I think we try to obsess over how to create differentiated value for our customer, who are real estate agents, while leveraging the AI models, right? And so there's this balance you have to take, which is you want to leverage the model in such a way that as the model gets better, your system gets better. At the same time, you want to add value on top of it so that, for our agents, our real estate agents, they will have a much better customer experience using Simple, for example, which is the application you saw earlier, as opposed to just going to Claude, right? So like, how do you actually find that right balance is really important. And for us, it really comes down to, I think, like 3 key areas. One is we're building workflows that are tailored for real estate agents. So, and an orchestration platform on top. So things like, how do you create a competitive market analysis report? How do you generate a listing presentation? These are all very real estate specific workflows. And I think the other part is the data, right? Like having authoritative data that powers your AI, right? Whether that's all of the deal transactions that we're making in the brokerage or our sales training data that we give to our salespeople, those are really important as well. And then I would say just the last thing is we have real estate professionals that are continuing to provide feedback and fine-tuning the output of the AI model so that it just continues to get smarter and smarter over time, right? So I think those are kind of the area that really make us more of a vertical AI versus just kind of like bolting on a chatbot, into legacy software.
Yeah, the data point is great transition to ZoomInfo. So you all are building a product that embeds V0 while being able to expose the AI data in order to build new applications for your customers. What problems are you looking to solve that folks couldn't solve before?
Yeah, I mean, V0 is amazing. What we're able to do now is, as I think you mentioned this in one of your podcast appearances, which is the calculus of build versus buy.
Yep.
I'm actually more bullish on SaaS now than ever before. But what I will say is a one-size-fits-all SaaS application is probably seeing its last days, but verticalized, customized to the user, to the use case. And so what we're doing with V0 is how can we take ZoomInfo vertical data, whether it's real estate prospects, manufacturing prospects, with the magic of V0's coding agent so that we can bring the builder mentality to people like who have a degree in marketing who never thought they would build things, but put it on rails for them to make it easy to get value out of it.
Yeah, awesome. So let's talk about security and guardrails, because I think it's where a lot of organizations get stuck when it comes to getting something off your local machine and actually deployed in production. Victor, when you're embedding AI capabilities into a product used by thousands of enterprise customers, the blast radius of mistakes is obviously enormous. How does your team think about trust and safety at scale?
I think first is if we're able to put things on rails and make users, let's say, whether you have a computer science degree or not, be able to trust that you've got the right data, you've got the right infrastructure is when they can be most creative about building. And the first thing I think of is we thought of who is the best in class at standing up deployments, sandboxes, shipping, and Vercel is that. And at the context graph layer on the ZoomInfo side, we'll take care of the privacy, permissions, and so users only have access to the data that they're allowed to have access. So their agents aren't burning through hundreds of thousands of tokens, for example. But I think I'll put it all together, which is best-in-class infrastructure guardrails and then best-in-class context graph guardrails so that anyone from go-to-market engineers to marketing folks can feel free to build on their ideas.
Nice. And Andy, so you've made this counterintuitive bet that constraining the stack actually accelerates innovation rather than slowing it down. You're even replacing vendor contracts because of what people built internally. Can you explain that thinking? Yeah,
the shadow IT challenge right now is real. And the bet that we've made is by giving people a ton of access to build something on Vercel with preview links. Those, I talk to these marketers and they don't really seem to understand how amazing ephemeral environments are. They just assume that that's how software works. And it's like, it took a long time for us to get here as an industry where you ship your code and you get an environment where just your code is reflected. Those ephemeral environments are great from a security perspective. They're not indexed, they're not discoverable, they have a degree of entropy that's really nice. So I let people run pretty loose inside of those ephemeral environments, and then we have some review and guidance for actually getting something shipped to a production Vercel endpoint. Because we're really permissive on this axis, I can be really restrictive on other access. So again, sorry to my Lovable friends in the building, but like we're not building on Lovable, we're building on Vercel. Like whatever you need to do on Lovable, come do it over here. We have a better solution for you. And I just have a strong fundamental belief that if IT becomes the place where you bring your problem and they show you how to do it securely, you will win converts, you will win adopters. If IT becomes the department of no, you will have people working around you. So by being extremely, extremely aggressive about what we let people do inside of our guardrails, I think we're gonna win the shadow IT battle and have a better security posture like net.
Nice. And Greg, you've thought carefully about what traditional engineering controls work and where they break down. How do you build guardrails when builders aren't engineers?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, it's a big focus for us, right? Like putting the controls and guardrails in place. I think a couple of things. We integrate it into our CI/CD pipeline, first off, right? So when we're doing software development, we have automation. We use CodeRabbit for automated PR reviews. For code changes that are really complex, we have a human review it as well. We do security code scan for security vulnerabilities, code standards, code quality, things of that nature. Check for sensitive data, secrets, right? Like, so all of those things are part of the automated pipeline. Because we are an AI native product and we have inputs and outputs for our AI models, we have to also put controls over that as well, right? So input into an LLM, we need to make sure we process that and make sure there's no like prompt injection, for example, right? The outputs of the model, same thing. We have to validate that output before it actually goes to our end customer, right? Who is our real estate agents. And so, we do a number of different things. One of them is, we'll do eval, for example, right? Like to actually go and score the output of the model. So, we check it for hallucination, relevancy. Compliance is actually a big one as well for us, because in real estate, we have, regulatory policies that we gotta abide by. So, for example, with Fair Housing Act, we have to make sure that the output of our AI is not discriminatory for consumers, right? So, and we actually build a custom model for that. And so, anyways, I think having that full end-to-end pipeline or deployment, all the controls in place is gonna be really key for us. And honestly, it's what makes us comfortable, what made me comfortable to really lean on AI for the development, right? Otherwise, I think we would be a little bit more conservative in our approach, but because of the controls in place, I think we feel a lot better.
Yeah, nice. So I'd like to talk about the methodology behind how agents actually work inside your organizations. And Greg, we'll start with you. So you have very specific framework for how you structure agent workflows, where each agent mirrors a human role and engineers effectively become leads managing multiple streams. Can you walk us through how that works in practice?
Yeah, we definitely model after humans, right? And so if you think about a traditional software development process, you have different roles, right? You have your DevOps, you have full stack engineer, web developer, QA. Those are roles which we create specialized agents for. And then we have responsibilities, right? Each person has different types of skills and responsibilities. So we've built a library of different AI skills. For example, how do you scan the code to check for vulnerabilities, or how do you write unit tests? These are all different skills. So each AI agent can have and use a different set, multiple sets of skills at their disposal. So that's a big part. I think the other part is just like the process for software development is also something we emulate, even though it's AI. So, we start with the product manager, right? So a product manager will go and write requirements. Now, they will now leverage AI to help them write the requirements, and we use linear, so we put them in linear, right? That's our source of truth. And then we have engineers who will take that and generate technical requirements, again, leveraging AI. Then they'll break it down into user stories that are put in linear. And then we'll have AI agents to take the story and actually go do the development on it, right? And so on and so forth, right? And then you have QA, you have deployment. So it follows a kind of more traditional process, but just turbocharged with AI, right? And then I think at the end of it, we do leverage something called compound engineering, which is open source framework for, as we're doing agentic development, it actually will remember the lessons learned so that the next time you do another task, you pick up another task, the lessons will be there, right? And so you're just continually getting better and better in your software development.
Nice. Andy, you made a deliberate choice not to hand people V0 code generation shortcuts. You wanted them learning the fundamentals. So why and how does that change what they're able to build?
Yeah. We are very impressed, and our team is using agent frameworks in other parts of our software development. But for my citizen builders, I sort of made the counterintuitive choice that I wanted them not in a fully managed environment. I wanted something that was like just enough engineering that they knew how to operate it, but not so distinct from our regular processes that it would be hard to build these processes in. It's not really a secret in our leadership team that some of these projects are throwaway-ware or demo-ware. Had a very eager young associate who, absolutely admire, love his energy, kind of a monitoring the situation guy, who put together a risk and safety tool that monitored all our real-time events. So, we do 2,000 events around the country with doctors. We have to monitor well, I guess you don't really have to monitor anything because we don't, but he wanted us to monitor weather and security and safety. And he built this crazy dashboard that was like, we have an event in Phoenix and there's a heat weather advisory. It was like, this is nuts. Needless to say, that's not something we're using every day in our software. That was a good idea. He learned how to use AI. He learned how to use tools. It was an interesting demo. We haven't scaled it. But by putting these tools close to the builder, when we do find something that hits, and we found a bunch of stuff that has hit, it's easier for us to pull it into our actual engineering workflows. It doesn't look too dissimilar. So that's why I'm bullish on frameworks like Vercel and not on walled gardens where you're gonna have your non-engineers build something in a low code environment. I actually think that making the high code environment more friendly to newcomers is gonna get more of these projects into production.
Yeah, anything that's like a meaningful app or agent where 400 salespeople at Vercel are using it. Ultimately, it's in our GTM monorepo. Our GTM Eng team went through it. So that totally aligns. Victor, you're designing a progressive disclosure model, point and click, then chat-based customization, then full app building for 40,000 plus customers. How do you think about meeting users where they are on that spectrum?
Yeah, I think we like to look at our builder personas usually in a binary way, which is either you can write code from scratch, or you need a vibe coding tool. But I actually think that spectrum there's many different steps of capabilities. On one end are the people in this room who can build anything and your GTM engineering team. And on the other end, you have sellers, sales managers in manufacturing verticals or that have never built anything with code all their life, right? So what we want to do with this V0 and ZoomInfo integration is address all those. If somebody has the knowledge and know-how and gone through your training to write code, we want to unleash their creativity and then they can get access to all the tools. If they want to get started and get value right away through point and click, they can do that as well. We're in this world where you don't have to pick and choose between one or the other anymore. So really exciting about it.
Awesome. All right, to close this out, I'd love to make it super practical for people in the room. So if an AI agent could do one thing at your company today that it currently can't, what would it be? Andy, you want to kick us off?
I think for me, it's not so much the AI agent, it's what's around it. So, you mentioned shadow AI, shadow IT, think of it as like shadow AI, right? I do think right now we have this huge unlock where you're empowering non-engineers to build, which is great. But to your point, Jeanne, earlier, right? The governance and the framework around it so you can turn that prototype into a durable, reliable, secure software. I think in having the framework and all those controls and governance stuff we just talked about, having that all kind of built into the pipeline is going to be really big unlock. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying out the new
enterprise
product,
apps and agents. You've heard it here first.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think for us, it's this evolution from third-party tools to homegrown control planes, and then once the control planes get product market fit, thinking about what the agent can do to support the team. So 2026 was the first year that I started getting a lot of messages at work from robots, right? Like sort of requests for action from robots. And I think that trend is only going to continue. So we're taking some of our marketing and our promotion and our lead gen and our, say we need to run an event in Arizona and I need to figure out all the cancer doctors in Arizona. I want the agent to understand at a high level that when we have an event coming up and when we have doctors that haven't interacted with us, just go target them. Go put money into LinkedIn ads, go put money into meta campaigns. And we've called that the full self-driving vision. It's something that we're working on now. So figure out what the use case is, build your own control plane, and then figure out where you can let the agents take the wheel and do tasks that are either going to be more reliable, more kind of boring tasks that you wouldn't want to have a person do, and hand those off to the agents and let them drive.
Awesome. All right, Victor, round us out.
All right. So right now, what we've been talking about is that the agents are assistants to the builders. What I'd love to see in the next few months is that the agent is the builder themselves. I want the agent to be able to build the application, ship the application through the right guardrails, and the new eval, instead of the output of the agent being the eval should be, was the user successful in what the application was trying to deliver to the user? The agent then gets that instrumentation and then does the next version of the application, delivers that again, right? One thing, why I love working with Vercel is you all are all about shipping, and I think you learn more about shipping to your first user than it is just building the code. So if an agent can get you through that loop over and over again, it really accelerates the customer getting the value.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining me. Really appreciate it and look forward to see what else you will ship this year. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.